Hello everyone and welcome to this episode of our podcast mini-series Getting to Better Together, which is sponsored by the Centre for International Development, Social Entrepreneurship and Leadership at the University of the Sunshine Coast and supported by Noosa Radio FM 101.3. I'm your host, Richard Borden. Before proceeding any further, I wish to acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land, the Gubbi Gubbi people, and pay my respects to their elders, past, present and emerging. I was recently asked what social entrepreneurship had to do with international development. We are not just the Centre for International Development, but we want to make sure that people understand that our view of international development very much focuses on social entrepreneurship, not just entrepreneurship, and leadership. And the three are obviously all interconnected. And from time to time, we have the privilege of meeting someone who exemplifies all three of those. And I'm delighted to welcome this morning Martha Raka as my guest. Martha is from Papua New Guinea and she did a course that was run back in 2018
Yes.
To do with social entrepreneurship. And she has been immensely successful in taking those ideas back to her communities in Papua New Guinea and amplifying and accelerating the role of development through social entrepreneurship, particularly with small agricultural producers. I'm going to let Martha talk about herself, introduce herself, and really let her talk about what she stands for and what she's doing. Welcome, Martha.
Thank you, Richard. Wow, what a privilege to come back here. That's where I learned the loops of social enterprising. I went back after spending a few months in Australia in 2018 at the University of Sunshine Coast. I went back and I started working with, already started a company called Sarah J. Pacific. We started working with, it's a social enterprise, and we build cooperative enterprises or society. It's commonly known in Papua New Guinea as cooperative societies. Mm-hmm. We work with the smallholder farmers who cannot help themselves become better farmers. We build their capacity to use better production practices, facilitate investment in farm productivity and infrastructures. We improve the quality of existing services and establishing new ones through increased investment. It was a small idea that it all started here, but at the whole innovation center. When I went back, started with a community that I knew very well. It was actually my tribe, mm-hmm. and that's when we started this whole thing. And I never thought that a small idea will be a demanding idea in the community. So we based our idea on creating ward cooperatives. That's how our legislative system works. Mm-hmm. It's a bottom-up process that we wanted to start. Our government is more focused on top-down.
Right.
So we decided that I think the more impact that we'll do is on the rural settings and coming up. We approached a ward councillor and he's happy. He said, yes, come, let's try it out. It's something new. It's a new model, so let's see how it goes. So I explained the role of forming cooperative societies. Cooperative societies existed in PNG for some time back, even well before independence in 1975. And there were case studies of successful organizations that started as a cooperative societies into a more corporate enterprise. But it's pretty much controlled by the government. The risk is it's controlled by the government, and the government of the day has a say on it. And the government has dismantled the system in 2000 or 2002, I can't remember what year it is. And then it started again after several years. It started again. The Department of Trade, Commerce and Industry is pretty much in charge of cooperative societies. But it's a really good model that we use. I'd like to call it a cooperative model, where we gather all the smallholder farmers together, one interest in agriculture especially, and we worked with the farmers in the Kako Valley chain, where it's already, the product is already, the trees already existed in the local areas. And then that's how we build ecosystems for the cooperatives. We work with the local community. They do the election, they elect their own members. We just participate in the election, and we help them write reports. We help them fill up the forms of registration. We help them register their organization. We help them, they pay a little bit of fees, like shares holding. And we help them open bank accounts for the cooperative, for the farmers as well. And they put their fees in there, and we create partnership. Right. So they partner with us, we partner with them, and we cost out the project. If the project, depending on the logistical, logistic is where the main cost is. They have the crop, they have the labor, they have the land. What they need is support. Just financial support or support of an organization who has the know-how to improve, the capacity or the ability to produce on a commercial level. And then we give them a cost, say, okay, if your project is about 1 million, you have 30% of it, and then we will put 70% and build this. Usually they don't have that kind of money. No. So what we do is we fundraise with them, and we give them a little bit of funding, and then we invest into production so that we can be able to generate an income. So it becomes like an agricultural loan with no interest at all, as long as we have a contract that ties us down together. Our contract is just about 5 years, especially depends on what kind of crop they work with. We work with the cacao value chain. Usually it takes about, with the new hybrid that they're planting, it takes about 2.5 years for maturity. So that gives us time for 2.5 years is for training. And that's where the biggest budget is. And then we continue to train them so that when there's maturity of cacao pods, that's when they go into production. Meanwhile, while we're waiting for the seedlings and trees which we supply, we build the nurseries. We refurbish the dryers, the cocoa dryers. It depends on funding. If there's funding to actually run the whole project, it comes in phases, in different phases. And otherwise, if there's no funding, it stops somewhere, and we go out, come back to the drawing board, and start knocking on doors. Yeah, whoever that wants to support us in little areas. Like we'd like to digitize the whole system. Right now, there is no system. We have a very big systematic problem. That's how there's loopholes. And developments like this don't transpire, don't become a reality. So we'd like to digitize the system by making sure all our farmers are bankable, have cashless payment, and so we can reduce risk of security risk. We'd like to digitize the system by having all the agriculture information on mobile phones, so that the reason why we'd like to digitize the system, because government departments are usually under-resourced. They don't get enough funding support from the government to actually send out field officers to work with the farmers. And one reason is because many areas are more remote, and these extension officers cannot reach those areas. Remote in a sense that it's an island. Our first operation was on an island where I knew very well, because I come from that island, and the logistical cost is very big. But there is potential of growth. If the whole island was commercialized, like if they have an economic power to produce the bags, then we will bring the vessel in, and otherwise it's just vessel runs on someone else's schedule on the other side. It's a government schedule, so whenever the farmers have the chance to catch the vessel, they send the produce, but they usually produce just enough for their pocket to buy the basic needs, and then they go back again and start farm the land again. It's very challenging for them. So bring this model to them. They're happy. They wanna see change. They wanna see roofing iron. They've been living in shake roofs for bush metal roof for some time, since independence. They wanna see clean water. They wanna see good roads. They wanna see lights, solar street lights. We can only do solar street lights. We can do electricity. These are the things they want to see. These are the things that we've asked them. What actually do you want? And this is what they said. We want to do this. And I said, yes, of course you can do that. Work with me. Let's work in your farm, and you can produce that money. We will help you to understand how you can save and budget your money. Training. First part of a budget will be just training. Richard, I'm just going to keep going on, but you got to interrupt me some way.
Yeah. I'm interested in what drew you into this in the first place. What's your background?
Okay, my background is my strengths are in finance, in business management. That is where my strength is. So how I got to come down here, I saw an advertisement with Australian Howards on social media, and I applied. There's a possibility of Australian government sponsoring entrepreneurs to go down and study entrepreneurship. And this is something I've been really keen on doing, because I had plans of starting a business and not just continue to work. I've been working in mining companies for many years.
Oh, really?
Yep. Up in the Southern Islands, in Morro itself, in Western Province.
Wow. And
basically I work as a camp administrator. I look after the camp. The buck stops at me. I have a lot of unhappy people that turn up. My bed is broken. Water I don't have hot water. Can you change? This is where I solve problem. I have to solve problem. Otherwise, my supervisor will say, "You sure you know what you're doing? Otherwise, I don't need you." Yeah. So that's how I learned how to solve problem. So when while I was still working, I invested a bit. I said, "Okay, I can't work forever. I have to do something for sustainability." in the event that the mining company said, all right, you're getting old now, we don't need your service. So I started the cacao business. I was still at work and I gave some money to my relatives. Go home, buy those bags and bring them back. And they did that, but they didn't do it very well. And the result wasn't good. It wasn't good. So when I applied for this, I got angry because it didn't turn out well. And then I applied for this scholarship and I got in. So when I came down, I was in Tammy's class and Bill was there as well. And I learned how to be a good manager. So I went back and I said, okay, I was a bad manager back then.
Really? You thought you were?
Yeah, because I gave, I put all my eggs in one basket.
Okay.
And I started to blame my relatives for not producing the result I wanted. And I was a bad manager then. I came to here, I learned something. I went back and I said, sorry, I'm a bad manager. Now I am a good manager. I'm going to do it again, but I'll pivot. I'll do it better this time because I learned how to do that. You got to fail somewhere. This is what I learned here. And your failure is your lessons learned. Get up again and pivot and do it properly. So when I pivoted, I started to do a lot of research, learning what I learned from here. And I went back. And then that's it. I started developing ideas, continuously talking to Bill and my network of friends and family and my extended network as well. And I started developing this business model. So it was like an intermediary business model. It's like a consultant. Mm-hmm. I provide service to the cooperative. I say, I have your solution. Right. Cooperative societies, I have your solution right here.
Is there anything particular about Papua New Guinean society that enables it to do cooperatives better than a lot of places around? In many countries, from my experiences, cooperatives fail after a few years, either because they've become commercialized and therefore miss the point of being a cooperative, or because people actually don't have a commitment to society. They're really individuals, and they become individualistic entrepreneurs rather than social entrepreneurs.
Well, one good advantage of working as cooperatives in PNG is people work together. Yeah, they come together, especially in agriculture, in mostly in the rural areas where there is no government presence, and working together. They've been working together for many years. They would go and work on someone's land. He will ask, "Hey, come work with me. Let's clear this land up. I'm gonna plant my vegetables," and then it's like paid forward kind of. Right. The system they use. So they're used to working together, supporting each other, despite not being supported by anyone, especially the government. So it's already in the system. So when we went with the idea, said this is going to be like a business kind of idea. And they've had a lot of talks about small, medium enterprise where the government has really wanted to, roll it out. Right. I can tell you, government only do policies. They don't have the know-how to do it. So they talk about it, they write it, but to implement it, who's going to implement it? So here I am. So I said, let's look at it more like a business. You're going to own a business, working together as like you used to do before. You have the land, you have the labor. You can work on your farm. You can have cacao here. You can have coconut here. You can have coffee here. You can do that. They're doing it overseas. You can do it here. Yeah. So that's one unique thing about us, because we've been hunters and gatherers back in those days, and we are still doing it now, like working together as a group. So it was easy. It was easy for me to go and talk to them about this. But the challenging bit is I'm a woman, and it's a patriarchal society. Right. Man owns the land. Man makes the decision. But one good thing about me being a woman is because of my mother's status. My mother is she's a well-known woman. Her father is more like a chief in the clan. Okay. So she has taken on the responsibility of looking after extended family, and it's always in the system. Like everyone, most people, most societies do that. Extended. We grew up with extended family, so it was easy for me. And I'm the eldest of my family. My mom comes from a very big family. She has a father. She has two fathers, one mother and two fathers, kind of like a father that gave birth to her, left her, and a mother remarried. And they, got another. So she comes from two family, and her siblings are biological siblings are almost 9, and then adopted siblings are also another 9 people. So imagine that's extended family. Imagine growing up with this extended family. So it was easy for me to go back to this family and say, hey, let's get together and do a business, but in a cooperative model. So that's how it all started. So like we continue, like I didn't want to, continue what my mother was doing, like relatives come and, give them the fish. I want to teach them how to fish. Yeah, kind of. Beautiful. Yeah. So that's how it started. And the same principle applies in different societies. So that's how I say serving a neglected community in PNG is demanding.
Are small producers under threat, again, the way they are in many other places in the world? That large corporations come in and take them over. I take palm oil as an example, where I was involved many years ago with a project in Papua New Guinea, where exactly that was happening. So the small producers were being scrubbed out by the large corporations.
Yeah, that's a sad story. A lot of small farmers are illiterates, and they don't understand business models. They don't understand how the system works. So a lot of large cooperatives take advantage of that and manipulate them. They use what they call the middleman. Usually it's one of the board members to manipulate the system, the small cooperatives, where they work like a labor to the cooperatives, to the corporate body. We went in we flipped the system around. We flipped the model around. We are like, I tell the cooperative, I tell the small farmers that you are my employer. You employ me. I work for you. You don't work for me. You've been working for seasonal buyers. You've been working for other people. This time I'm going to work for you. I'm going to give you the service. I'm going to provide the service. My aim is for you to increase your production, but do it properly. We'll base it on quality and not quantity, so that we can get the premium price, so that you are able to pay me. So they understood that system. Like, I'm working for you. They're like, wow, finally someone is working for us. So
you're an entrepreneur for entrepreneurs.
Sorry?
You're an entrepreneur for entrepreneurs.
Exactly. I'm an entrepreneur for entrepreneurs. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I kind of create entrepreneurs again.
Right.
So with our model, said, so we have this cooperative society here, cooperative model here. From there, you farmers sell your produce to the cooperative at farm gate. Cooperative buys it and worries about the market. There is market. They would ask me, but we don't have the market. I said, no, you have the market. We don't have the produce. Let's go into production now to meet that market demand. Oh, so that's what it's like. There is market for everything, especially in food. You'll never go wrong with it. In the food industry, you'll never go wrong with it. So this is part of mind changing for them. So they're like, okay, so let's do it this way. And then we have another challenge is, other people would come in and say, no, this woman is not telling the truth. She's going to lie to you and get all your money and da-da-da. But I'm being transparent. Like, I've invested time and money and effort into it. I don't just go and talk to them and despair. I go and talk to them and I said, there you go. These are your tools. These are your resources. Let's work on it. So, like, I have evidence. So they're like, no, we're going to work with it. We're going to work with it. And then you spread, and there's other neighboring societies would come and say, can you also help us? Yes, I would love to help you, but I need the money to help you, But this is the idea. Go back and talk to your government. Go back and talk to your ward councillor so that you can go up to the government and say, all right, you have this some million that you get every year. Push it back here.
Well, you're really in the business of worldview change. That you're, unlike classical extension in agriculture, which of course is just the extension of knowledge from a scientist out to a farmer with the assumption the farmer knows nothing, which is a shocking assumption. You're making two different assumptions. One is that they already do know, because they've been doing it for a long time. There are things they don't know, obviously, like value chains and markets and access, credit and so on. But they're knowledgeable people, and you respect them, which is a really important part of social entrepreneurship, as I understand. But more importantly, you're giving them the worldview that they are valued. So it's not that they create value, they are valuable people.
Exactly.
They're not just subsistence farmers who are converting into some form of commercial activity.
No.
But they're actually people who are being recognized as valued members of society.
Exactly.
And I find that very exciting.
Exactly. I tell them, without you, there's no food in the world.
No, that's right.
You make it or you break it. And I work with you to make it happen. So you are very valuable in the system. I call them my kings and queens.
Okay.
Yeah. And I told them, I'm going to print a shirt with my farmers are my kings and queens. Just to give them that ownership, give them that pride in them. So that, because they've been overlooked since independence. They've been looked at as, we are also subsistence farmers in PNG. That's our background. That's how we grew up. That's how we were with our parents, working the land, working in the plantation, getting that little bit of money, paying school fee for my mom and my dad. That's how they grew up. And now they've come to the city to work for someone else so that they can be able to pay for my tuition fees. Right. But I don't want that to continue to happen back in the rural areas, but I want them to be employees themselves in their own company and pay for whatever they want. They can do that. I said, the funds of freedom is right here. It's all about funds of freedom. We don't just sit and wait for someone else, wait for the government, because we're going to wait for another. We're going to turn 47 in September. The country is going to turn 47 in September. We don't want to wait for another 47, do you? We got to get up and do something. And once we do something now, we can go to the government and say, this is our share here. Can you put a little bit on top and let's build this infrastructure together? Or let's bring that boat here. Or let's bring that airplane here. You know?
So in your vision, where is Papua New Guinea going to be in 20 years' time?
Okay. With this business model, my plan is to build it wasn't 20, it was 50. I'll be gone by then, is to have 1 million women farmers in the cacao value chain.
Wow.
Yep. I can tell you now, I have about 104 existing, and I'll have 1,104 women farmers, including the ones in the Civic province.
Wow.
Yes. So I'm getting there. I'm working on it.
There's only 1,000 pounds to go.
It was like the value proposition in it is with the cooperative is I can start you off with a little bit of fun, kickstart you, just small seed capital, kickstart you. And for the women farmers, you go into running your own SME, your small medium enterprise by coming to your cooperative and asking them for a loan, agricultural loan, and you get a little bit of money and you're hard work. I don't want you to come to town and spend it on some foreigner's store, on some other people's shop. Bring that shop back home. Yeah. Be a baker there. Yeah. Be a hairdresser there. Be a whatever there. Yeah. A wholesale company or a retail shop. Bring it back home. So your money circulates within you. That's what excites them. Yes. Rather than, you sweating your guts in the big sun just to get that little bit of money. And you come to town and you give it to a Chinese man, you give it to another people. And the directors of the company are relaxing, sipping coffee somewhere, and you're the one working for them. So let's bring Lay City home. Or let's bring Port Moresby home. Bring the shops there. And you can actually do it. So that's one, probably I'll call it like a minimal value proposition for them. So that excites them, like, yes, right. Let's do this, yeah. So I'm looking at 50 years for the business, like, create 1 million women in cooperatives. But I tell you, if the government has actually invested into this kind of program that we're running, I would say tier 2, because tier 1 is the bilateral talks they have with other countries and talk about funding. Yeah, it comes into the department and we don't see it at tier 2. And tier 2 is people like me working with the farmers. Come and invest in that platform where it goes directly to the farmers. So the whole idea about the business model that we're setting up, the company called Sergio Pacific is an intermediary model that connects the farmers to the market. But the farmers have an organization or maybe like a foundation that everyone comes together, all the cooperatives come together, and that's where the network, that is where the body is that is going to ask for funding to support them. Sergio Pacific is only providing the solution that we have to work with the farmers. Our cooperative solution is not only into production and product profitability, but it's also in environmental enabling environment, like building a nursery to cater for 20,000 seedling, building a storage area so that where produce can go in. And we also have stakeholder engagement. We get the board. With the board, we're going to meet the exporter companies, or we go and meet the government department, whoever they are in charge of what kind of value chain we're using, the meetings, so that cooperatives are able to speak directly to those people, to those agents. We also have a strategic engagement. It's just us bringing in expertise, bringing in people in the agriculture value chain. Come in and look at specific areas and transferring their knowledge, become like a consultant. Right. Yeah. And we also have financial inclusion, where we have all our farmers bankable. We bring in the agent bank financial institution, come and work with them. We collect data for the farmers so that we can build a bridge to the financial institution where farmers can come and talk to them about the needs of getting a loan to expand their farm. We also have another solution, we like to call it, is market linkage. How we connect the farmers to the produce. It's the value chain, the supply chain in it. How do we reduce prices? By negotiating with the players along the way. Yeah. So these are the services that we provide for them. And then we build like a committee within the society itself, within the people. So they do most of the work. We only more like a mentor to them or like coach them along the way, but they do the nitty-gritty. They are the one that does the actual work. So we have a committee. We have 4 different committees in Law and Order Committee. It's all within the society itself. We have the Community Development Committee. We have the social committee, and we have the production committee, a project committee. So these are the committees that work in these areas, so like they can be able to work within their own community, talk to churches, create sports, involved in sporting activities. Say, hey, can you facilitate talk on health issues? So we bring these people on board. We'll bring the health experts to come and talk to them about health issues, clean water and sanitation, all this. So we have these communities within their own program. So in different corporations that we build, we have these communities that work together. And we have the Law and Order Committee, obviously, that it's a must. It's number one that they work with. And then we have this steering committee, like the ward councillor becomes like our mouthpiece to the government. Mm-hmm. So every quarter we meet and we write a report. We give it to our financial report. We write about a plan. We are transparent, open book. So the ward councillor takes it up, knock on the door. This is what I've been doing in my area in ward development. I need some funding. Can you support me? So that's how we build this. Yeah.
It's said that the characteristics of an entrepreneur include determination, thinking creatively, exactly, being able to get on with people, and knowing the rules, as it were, and then inventing new rules.
That's right.
And it seems to me, listening to you, that you're all of those. It's been a delight talking with you, Martha. Thank you so much indeed for coming in.
Thank you very much.
And I look forward to further conversations with you.
Yes, thank you very much for this time. And yes, I look forward to more conversation as well.
And I thank you all who have been listening, and I look forward to the next time. Until then, this is Richard Bourne saying goodbye. Goodbye.
Goodbye.